Gang, are you looking for better sleep and relaxation or relief from pain or anxiety without feeling totally drugged? Well, let me tell you about True Hemp Science full spectrum CBD products. True Hemp Science promises premium quality, pure ingredients, and true value. They source the highest grade organic hemp from around the world to handcraft the finest full spectrum CBD products in the Austin area and beyond. They offer a complete line of full-spectrum CBD products, including oils, tinctures, skincare lotions, sports rubs, gummies, and chocolates. Gang, I've been using their products for a while now, and they've lowered my anxiety and given me incredibly restful sleep. How Did I Get Here is teamed up with True Hemp Science to bring you a very special offer that benefits all of us. Spend $100 or more at True Hemp Science, and they will include either the number 81 distillate, which is great for nighttime, or the number 23 distillate, which is great for daytime, with your order. And that is a $25 value. Just go to truehempscience.com/HDIGH. That's truehempscience.com/HDIGH and balance your body and mind with True Hemp Science full spectrum CBD products. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here are your hosts,
All right. Hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys have all had a good week, whatever it is you did this week. I want to let you know that if you're listening to this show the day that it comes out, Friday, December 16th, Skyrocket, the band that I'm in, will be playing at Antone's Nightclub, the legendary Antone's Nightclub right here in Austin, Texas. Tonight, Friday, December 16th, we start at about 9. Come on out, get involved. You can find out more about what's going on with us. If you want to know who we are or whatever, go to skyrockettheband.com. I think there's a ticket link there in our show dates. Get there, pick up some tickets, and get involved with the show. That's tonight, Friday, December 16th. Legendary nightclub, Antone's here in Austin. It's been around for years, man. Everybody's played there. Muddy Waters, B.B. King, Bono. I'm not joking. Jacob Dylan. I'm trying to think of all the people that I've seen there. Dennis Quaid. Antone's. It's moved some locations over the time, but it is now downtown. It's got a store. It's very much paying reverence to what Antone's stands for, and I really appreciate that about that place. Antone's. Let's do it tonight, Friday, December 16th with Skyrocket, the band. Hey, gang, I want to thank you guys that reached out about my dad. I talked about the show on Tuesday. I talked about my dad living in his car for the last few months and dealing with neuropathy due to diabetes and having problems with his extremities, namely his feet and legs, having difficulty getting blood down there and getting the thing going. He had to go to the hospital on Friday, but this is the word, okay? Nobody really knows what the doctors told him. They could have told him, you need to have this stuff amputated, because that's what they told him when he got there. And he said no, and then signed his release and got out. That's kind of what I'm of the belief of. But my brother Jeff took him in. He's no longer living in his car for the time being. So I want to thank Jeff for doing that, because it was getting a little bit freaky because he was not doing well. He was not able to stay anywhere. People have kind of had their fill of the dude. I know it's not funny to laugh. It's we've been dealing with this for a long time, our whole lives. Anyway, I do want to thank the people that reached out. It means a lot. That's very sweet. My dad is safe. He is sound. He is with my brother Jeff, who also is going to be lecturing him 24 hours a day, because Jeff is pretty he's pretty fatherly. He's pretty paternal. I'm glad he had a son and he can raise a child, because he's always explaining stuff to me. Not in a bad way, but he's very paternal. Anyway, Dad's safe and sound. Hopefully, I don't know what's going on with his physical condition, but at least he's under a roof and not in his car. So thank you for reaching out and saying something about it. Other than dealing with the dad stuff and getting ready for the Skyrocket show on Friday and trying to get ready for Christmas and all that stuff, I have entered the studio at the Bubble with Austin Music Foundation Artist Development Program artist Grace Sorensen. You heard her on the show back in like February. I think she was on the show. Amazing artist. We worked on some tunes over the last month, a couple of tunes, and we got in yesterday and started recording them. She's such an amazingly talented woman, man. I'm so I'm so blown away by all of this talent. So inspiring. Like I came home last night and played for a while after being in the studio from 11 in the morning till about 10:30 at night. Crazy, right? Crazy. Gang, I have a great show for you today. Nashville-based singer-songwriter David Newbould is on my show. Yeah, he used to live here in Austin from about 2000, early 2000s to about 2009. He moved to Nashville. But I knew him because I used to play Tuesdays at this place called Cafe Mundi on the east side. I think now it's Yellow Jacket. I think that's the place. I used to play there every Tuesday with my friend Todd. David Newbould had a weekly thing there, and that's how we kind of got to know each other. And he since has moved to Nashville, has put out a shitload of great records, including his latest one that came out this summer called Power Up. Great, great record, man. A record that consists of messages of persistence and unshakable survival. And the title song, Power Up, is a call to arms to do something before it's all over, bringing the positivity to the crazy times. We live in crazy times, and David Newbould is trying to work that out and trying to lift the spirits with his music. Power Up, a great record worth checking out. He just got back from Europe. He did a 13-date European tour. Apparently it went very, very well. It was really great catching up with my old friend. You can find him at davidnewbould.com. I'm sure he's going to be playing around if you live in the Nashville area or in the Southeast. I'm sure he plays around there a lot. Hopefully he'll come back to Austin sometime soon and we can see him play here. It would be great to see him. It was great catching up with my old friend, and we had a fantastic conversation about his journey through music. He started out in Canada, then moved to New York City, then moved to Austin in the early 2000s. And as I said, he's moved to Nashville in 2009, and he's made this great record. I mean, he's got all these great people on it. He started he started playing with like Dan Baird from Georgia Satellites. Fantastic. Anyway, we have a great conversation. Things are going great with David Newbould. I'm very happy for him, and I hope that you enjoy our conversation. This is me and David Newbould chatting it up. Let's get down.
I drive that long, lonely road. I've got a million things to do, but they can wait. 5 o'clock in the morning.
There you go. Long time no see, buddy.
Indeed, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Man, you're not fucking around with that beard, are you? You're like going full-on ZZ Top vibe.
Not quite. So yeah, try to get that Gillette endorsement, maybe.
Hold out. What happened to your hand, man?
Oh, nothing. I just from time to time, my wrist tendons get a little sore. I just put this on. Helps a little bit with the muscles.
Is it from rocking?
I don't know what it's from. From rocking. Rocking doesn't help it.
Right. I don't know why I thought that was so funny.
It helps in other ways.
It does help in other ways.
I don't know. I guess just from the phone and whatnot.
Well, you just got back from not a long, but an intensive tour in Europe, right?
I did, yes.
How was it?
Man, it was a lot of fun. It was actually the first time I've gone over and toured there.
Oh, really?
And yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
It seems like you would have gone there. You would have gone there more before, you know?
I've had a lot of false starts. It's all just to do with I was starting to make contacts before we had our son, who's 8, and then we had him, so I had to slow down. Then I started reaching out and found an agent, and then that was going to happen, and then COVID came and shut it down, and then finally, as that was coming out, we found a person to help out with booking there, and so now I'm in good shape for getting over there.
Right.
And hoping to start doing it a couple times a year.
I lost the video of you.
Did? Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I keep on clicking trying to open it, and I can't find it. That's weird. I was closing out of some stuff so that I wouldn't have any. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all the same on my end, it looks like.
That's just so weird. What happened? Seriously. Oh, there we are. Okay, good. All right.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right.
So he's 8.
He's 8, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
You didn't like what? When did we meet? Like did I meet you at the Congress House?
No, we first met at Cafe Mundi.
Okay, because I knew Cafe Mundi was
Yeah.
in there, but I thought there was also a Congress House component to our friendship.
I don't think so. I think it was you were hosting I don't know, were you hosting like a weekly, you had a set there every week? And,
I did a thing there every week, yeah. With Todd
and
Wolfson.
I was there with Todd Wolfson, yes.
It was one of those times, you know how you go through those in-between times where you have a really good idea and you take it as far as it can go and then it ends and then like you're in between good ideas. And so
Yeah.
you end up like on stage with Wolfson every Tuesday at Cafe Mundi for a year trying to figure it out.
Right.
You were playing there as
Yeah.
well though, right?
I was playing there. That was the first, when I got to town, that was the first place that I got a gig at, and I was playing there. I don't remember how frequently, but somehow it intersected with your Tuesdays, and I was part of that for a bit. And I remember it was really cool. And you had that great Takamine acoustic guitar.
I still have it.
And I've been trying to find it. Do you?
Yep.
Yeah, it was good. It had a cool, like, humble sort of great sound to it and a good tone. And I'd been going between acoustic guitars, and I remember I went out and found one like that after that I was using for quite a while.
Oh, cool. You know, my friend Corey did the same thing. That guitar, it has a good spirit to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like it a lot. Beth Lee has it now.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you know Beth. But yeah.
I know her name. I don't think I know her. So wait, so how long were you in town here then? For like 7 years or something?
Yeah, it was about 7.5 years, yeah.
Yeah.
2002 to 2009.
And you moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
What made you go?
I wonder about that. I think it was a combination of things. I mean, well, one thing I had this great booking agent situation lined up with a guy based out of around here, and I wanted to. I'd been touring Texas for a few years, pretty steadily, and as you know, it's a long way to get out of Texas to play anywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not so much north, but it was good. But I wanted to go up to the Northeast more and the Southeast, so I moved up here to start working with them. And I think I took Austin for granted a bit. You know, I didn't realize how much I loved it. When I left, I missed it a whole lot, and I still do. But I wanted to get into the Nashville songwriting thing and all the, I knew a lot of songwriters that had come up here and were doing well, and I kind of wanted to explore that. So I came up to see what that was about, and then to work with the agent. And then neither of them really took off. The agent disappeared. It just kind of went AWOL, and he had 4 or 5 people he'd signed, and we were all emailing each other like, what happened to this guy? And no one knew. It was just classic, ridiculous story. Like, okay.
You're like, I could have stayed in Austin for this, man.
I stayed in Austin for, yeah. But, I made a decision. I stayed, and then my girlfriend came up at the end of that year, and she moved up, and then we got married a few years later. And so we made it home.
Yeah.
And it's good, but I miss Austin a lot. I was down just this past year for the first time almost since then, and I was pleasantly surprised by how, I knew obviously it was going to look a lot different and how things have changed over the years, but I was surprised at how it still felt similar. It didn't feel as different as I thought it was going to feel.
Did you play?
Yeah, I played just a few shows. I came down during the South by week which was perfect too because it was such a subdued South by as compared to sort of what it had turned into. So it didn't feel overwhelming in the way that.
I can't remember this South by.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Like I can't.
No, it was. Yeah, it felt a little bit kind of like maybe what it felt like when I first got up there 20 years ago, or maybe even not quite that big.
Hey, this record Power Up is great. Sorry.
Thanks.
It's funny because like there's such a different it's funny, and it must be like also for the people that are normally lining up for your records, you know, especially like that record, the record that came out before Sin and Redemption. There's when you start this record, and the song Power Up itself is almost like this garage funk song that comes out of like and you're singing like almost in a character that's not like your normal delivery system there.
Right.
What was like what shows what was the all about it, like what was the whole thing about that tune? Just even like the execution of it and everything.
Yeah. So my friend Scott, who produced the record, we got together during the early, I'd say like a few months into the pandemic, because our kids are about the same age. So I'd bring them over to play, and we would sort of hang out. And he came down the stairs one day with his bass over his shoulder and said, man, we took our TV to this place to get repaired yesterday, and the guy kept trying to plug it in. He said, it won't power up. It won't power up. I said, oh, he said, so I feel like we got to do something with that. I said, all right. So we just kind of wrote this chorus, and then he got behind the drums, and I got on the guitar, and he turned on his, he's one of these guys that just always has mics going and always has his video camera going and stuff. And we just kind of messed around with it for a bit and had some fun. And then he said, I'll write a verse and you write a verse, and we'll reconvene in a couple of days and we'll sing the verses. All right. We like no idea where this was going or what for or anything. And then, so we each sang a verse, and then he just started putting it together and sending me edits, and we just kept passing it back and forth, and it was really just kind of for fun. And then it came out so cool, you know, so different.
Yeah,
like
it's really cool.
Stuff I would have done.
Yeah.
And I had all these songs, you know, ready to make a record. I didn't know who I was going to do it with or anything at that point yet. And I just thought, well, I think I need to do it here because this is, you know, really fun and different and interesting. So then I knew the song didn't really, you know, it was different than the other one. So I was just going to tack it on at the end and call the album Power Up and just have it as the last song, just sort of to go out with. And then right as we got close to release, I thought, I feel like it really should just be the first one, even though it's different than all the others, but it definitely gets your attention a little bit.
It really does. Yeah.
And I just didn't want to be too precious. You know, I was just like, well, it's just this crazy song, but what the hell, you know, I like it, so let's do it.
Yeah. What was the response like when you put it out from like your fans and stuff? Were they like, yeah? Or were people like, what's going on here, David? Yeah.
I think people liked it, you know. Yeah. I don't know. I always like when people kind of stretch outside of what they're doing. The guy we had for publicity for it, he said at first, man, I love this album, but I don't know. What do you think about the fact that the first song is really cool, but it doesn't really have much to do with the other songs? And
right.
Said, yeah, that's kind of the point.
Well, it's funny because
like Wilco always did that.
Exactly. There's a funny thing where like people, there's a genre and it's like Americana, but that like encompasses rock and roll and like folk and like bluegrass people. And then also like you have a song on here that's like a drum machine where you're doing like a talking blues kind of thing. The Home Depot glasses. That has nothing to do with Americana in any way, really, except for the fact that it's a talking blues song, but there's a bunch of weird sounds on it and stuff. It's not your normal sort of fare. But I think all that stuff's really adventurous and really, really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That song, like, it was a little more traditional sounding. It had a melody and everything, and we recorded it, and it sounded good, but as it got deeper into the album, I thought it just didn't seem as interesting to me as some of the other stuff we were doing. So we just kind of started over from scratch, and we said, let's just find some bossa nova type beat on this old. He had one of those old organs. What was it? Not a.
Is it an octagon?
Just, no, it's not an octagon. It's a wandering genie.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, and why am I spacing on the classic '70s?
Shit, hang on 1 second.
Organ, yeah.
Sorry, man.
Oh, that's no problem.
So disrespectful on my own show. My phone rings.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so you guys did this in a garage, right? That's what it.
Yeah.
I read about. Okay, because it does.
Yeah.
It has that vibe, but like in the best way possible. Like that's my jam. Like I love garage rock.
Yeah, me too. It was fun to do it that way, and it inspired me. After that, I built a little studio out behind my house. Well, where I am now, actually.
Yeah.
And it inspired me to be more creative with sounds and just record this way. I'm really into it because I don't know, when you go into it's fun working with limitations.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
Just have these mics in this room and these amps, and let's just do what we can with it.
Did you, when you got started out, like writing and recording and stuff, were you working on like 4-track cassette?
I was, yeah. I had the Tascam Porta one.
Yeah, baby. God,
yeah.
I had the Porta 2, loved it.
Oh, the Porta 2.
Yeah.
That's one better. Was it still 4 tracks, or was that the 8? They had an 8 too, the gray one.
I had I had my friend Einar's Yamaha 8-track cassette. Like he kept it at my house.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
There's something about those limitations, though. Like you have to plug something. If you want some kind of effect, you have to plug the thing through your guitar pedal. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, when I first started, I was just singing into. I guess I just had. Probably my Walkman probably had like a record button, and I'd do that. But then, yeah, the Porta one, that seemed so advanced. Just being able to multi-track 4 things and bounce it, and you could get about 8. You could do 3, and then on a 1, so you'd have 3, and then you could do more. So, yeah, you could get like 8 or 9 tracks, but it was even just with a couple of tone treble and bass, it seemed you get a lot of. It's hard to make it sound good. I mean, it sounded cool, you know what I mean? But a lot of mid-range, a lot of fuzz.
Dude,
like I like it.
I guess a few years before I met you, there was a point like in the 90s where I was doing it so much, and then like my whole sort of like group of friends, my colleagues, and bros like Davi Garza, like fucking Tony Scalzo. Like the first time I ever heard The Way was Tony and I had the same weed guy. And I was at my weed guy's house. He's like, man, Tony was here earlier, dropped off this 4-track of these new tunes he's working on. Check this tune out. And he played it. Like, I got to a point where, like, I used to get really bummed out when people used to go to the studio and record their songs because it was out of that 4-track sound. Like, I was so into the hiss.
Yeah.
I was so into, like, the weird sort of, like, once you started bouncing stuff, how mushy it sounded. To me, they were like symphonies. It's so weird.
I think you're right. I think if I went back and listened to it now, I'd probably I was just struggling with it because I didn't really have the capacity to just figure out frequencies at the time. So it would sound good with a few tracks, and then it would just get so mushy that I couldn't figure out how to, and then I just move on to another one.
Yeah. No,
it is a great sound. I mean, and tape, obviously, I love tape of all sorts now.
It's hard to find, man. It's expensive.
Cool. You heard that song that way.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and this record, like, it's not like lo-fi by any means, but it does have that sort of charm of a thing in a garage.
Yeah, thanks. I know, because like I said, we just had a few mics, and he was very just like, stick a mic up and let's go. Some of the drums, he actually recorded with an iPhone mic, kind of as a room condenser mic.
It's cool as shit,
And
man.
they sound great. One of the songs we cut it, and then he said, hold on, it's a little trebly. So he got up and walked over to the shelf where he had the iPhone and moved it down to the next shelf.
But that's how you do it, man. That's so fun to do it like that, as opposed to like pushing a button on your. And no offense against anything on a computer or anything, but it really is. I was raised to believe that that was more fun to do it like that than to have some button you could push to make it sound like that.
Right.
That's funny, man. So, okay, so you're from Canada, right?
Yeah.
Where in Canada?
I'm from Toronto. That's where I grew up.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I lived there all through high school. And when I got out of high school, I moved to New York.
Well, wait, in Toronto, like what like when did you discover music? Like when did you connect with music on the like, hey, I want to do that. I want to be one of those people.
Initially, around when I was 9, well, when I was 9, my folks split up, and it really had it wasn't a good situation, and I was just kind of lost for a couple of years, and I think when I was about 10, I discovered the radio and music, and pretty much at that point, I feel like looking back, that's kind of when I made the realization that this was what my life was kind of going to be about. And I started playing the drums, and this was early '80s. I mean, I remember the first.
Hold on, real quick before. Can you tell me, like, do you remember a song or a specific sort of set of songs that spoke to you in that way when you were listening to the radio?
I do. I mean, you know how people of a certain generation, they had the Beatles on Ed Sullivan moment, or but for me, one night it was hearing the song "Come On Eileen."
Yeah.
On Casey Kasem Countdown.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with that song, and that was the first one. That was like the gateway for me. I just remember, and then Overkill by Men at Work.
Oh God, what a great song, dude!
Yeah,
incredible song.
Yes, I love it, and I think "Cuts Like a Knife," maybe the Bryan Adams song was out at that time. Yeah,
talking about
so that's the one.
Yeah, man.
I'm at home this evening.
What a great song, right?
Really good.
Yeah.
Man, his early records are really good. I would say like first 4 or 5 records, every once in a while I'll go back and revisit them, or even just when you hear the song on the radio, you know, even Summer '69 or these songs, like they're just so good.
Yeah.
Really good. So I remember Come On Eileen, and I went out and bought the cassette. That was the first album or tape I ever bought. Two Rai, Dexys Midnight Runners, and then Cargo, and then Cuts Like a Knife, and Thriller. I think those were the first 4.
Jesus, man.
That I got.
That's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
That's 40 years ago this year, all those records, man.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And we were just showing our son all the Thriller videos yesterday for the first time.
Oh.
And he was loving them.
So you're okay with the Michael Jackson?
Well, I don't know what to.
Hey, there's no judgment. There's no judgment at all, because I don't know. Like I got rid of Bill Cosby. I did that.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein. I get it. But then there's like Michael Jackson. You're like, man, he did horrible shit, but like the jams are just so good. Can't we just separate the guy from the music for that? I won't listen to PYT. That's just too weird to listen to. Otherwise, yeah, man, come on.
I don't know. It's have you seen the Aziz Ansari? It's another one of the same thing, but
where he comes out and says he's sorry.
Right, but he has this part in it, like about R. Kelly and Michael Jackson, and he's like, who stopped listen? Who raise your hand if you stopped listening to R. Kelly? And like most people raise their hand. He goes, all right, now raise your hand if you stopped listening to Michael Jackson. Just a few people. And he's like, exactly. Why is that? You know, he's like, the music is just so good. How are you gonna? I don't know. I guess.
And I don't mean to laugh. I'm just laughing at the fact that music can be so good that you really can be like, hey, look, man, I'm sure Van Gogh was a jerk and Picasso was an asshole. Can I just enjoy this music? But yeah, no, sorry. So you were going back and showing those videos.
It's a tough one. Yeah. And yeah, man, he loved them, and like the dancing and stuff. You know, we were having like a little dance party in the living room, and I said, have you ever seen Thriller or the Michael Jackson? He said, no. And I said, oh, we got to put these on. So we just went and put them all on. Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean, The Way You Make Me Feel.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, he said, he seems like a weird guy. And I said,
good.
And I was like, please don't ask any more questions. You'll learn all about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, so I love that pop music, and then I got into metal, you know, early teens, Def Leppard and all this stuff, and then I wanted to be a drummer, so I put together frisbees and the trash can lids and the whole pots and pans kit till my mom, I don't know where she got it, but somehow she bought me a snare drum with a stand with a little cymbal. So I had a real drum and a cymbal, and then trash can lids and pots and pans, and then eventually got a drum kit. And I think it was when I was about 14 I started playing guitar, because my friends, we had a band, and they would come over and leave their guitars over, and I just started picking up their guitars while they were gone.
Yeah.
And that spoke to me more, I guess. And then
what were you guys playing in your band? Like, what was your band? Was it metal?
No, it was I think by then I'd kind of veered more into Led Zeppelin. We would just do like Jimi Hendrix songs and Led Zeppelin and Beatles songs and stuff.
Classic rock.
Classic rock. I mean, I hesitate to call it a band. It was just kind of a situation in my mom's boiler room with a couple of amps, and it was a lot of fun. But they weren't. I don't know. None of us were really into writing songs yet. We were about 14, 15. It wasn't until I heard a guy who I had a job at a grocery store, and a guy who was really into Neil Young. I didn't know too much about Neil Young, and he said, but he knew the people I was into. He said, you should watch this. I think you'll like it. And it was the Live Rust VHS.
Oh yeah.
The Rust Never Sleeps.
Yeah.
I took that home and I put it on, and I'll never forget that moment. Forever changed my life. Just because the way he played guitar. I mean, by then I was all into guitar, like wanting to be Jimi Hendrix and Jimmy Page and stuff like this. And of course, he was just raging on the guitar, but the songs were so deep, and so it just expanded. I just felt the world just kind of got a little bigger.
Right.
I was watching that.
Well, wasn't it 2 albums on that? Like there were 2 albums, like Rust and something else, and then the video came with it too. And
the Rust Never Sleeps album came out, but half of that album was live.
Okay.
And he had overdubbed stuff on it, and then the concert, the live stuff, some of the songs came. Then like later in the year, he put out the live album with all those songs. Some of the takes were the ones that were actually on the Rust Never Sleeps album.
Right.
So I guess the concert was before the album was out, because he would do that, obviously. So they kind of came out, I think, in the same year. But the concert video, it's just amazing with the big amps. That was the one where we had
Yeah.
the Road Eyes with the Ewok outfits.
Yeah. Yeah. And that guitar, man, dude, that makes that guitar makes me want to slap a Bigsby on everything I own, even the Takamine.
Right?
Yeah.
Takamine.
I'm like that. Just the fact that black fucking Les Paul is like iconic.
Unbelievable.
Isn't there? Doesn't it have a name?
I think it's just Old Black or Black.
Okay.
Old Black, I think, yeah.
Hey, let me ask
Yeah, I
you a
heard it
question. Sorry to interrupt you. That's why I hate Zoom, David. It sucks, man. But the good thing is I get to talk to people like you. But the thing is that the speed and timing is all weird.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think about, like, I was at my grandma's talking to my aunt a couple weeks ago, and she's like, man, you know, really bummed out, man. Like, looking for Neil Young on Spotify. I can't find it. You know where it is? I'm like, yeah, it's gone. Took it off, man. Doesn't believe in it. Or what I don't get, was it Joe Rogan probably had?
It was the Joe Rogan with the, I guess, the COVID misinformation.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
However, he's mean to his fans, man. I think that's just mean. He's being mean to my aunt. She just wanted to listen to some Neil Young, and he just took it away from her.
Right.
You know?
I saw clips of his. He was on Howard Stern, I guess, last week, and I was watching some clips of that. And well, it was funny because it was in the sort of classic Neil Young way. Because Howard Stern was saying, "Neil, you have just so much conviction. You're so strong in your convictions. Like the whole thing with Spotify and taking your stuff down, and you just believed in it." And he says, "Well, the whole thing with that was I was just sitting there one day and I saw something on TV and someone was talking about how this host of their show was spreading stuff about the vaccine that wasn't true, and I know people that have worked in hospitals and they have to deal with all these people coming in dying, and so I just right then just called up my management and said, just take us off Spotify." And so I thought it was kind of, because he's a very impulsive decision maker, it seems to me.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
It's just like, so some guy on some show said something for 2 minutes and he decides to take his music on Spotify, and I'm not saying it was wrong necessarily, but that was kind of funny, like, because, okay, other people might go down the wormhole a bit more and see, like, exactly what it is. Like, I don't think he listened. I didn't get the sense that he had listened to the stuff, whatever Joe Rogan had said.
You know what? Half the time that someone's boycotting something, they have no idea. I had a family, my family, I'm Cuban, and American dude that married my aunt decided that my whole family should boycott Goya because a dude from Goya liked Donald Trump and was like, and right. Donald Trump gave him some kind of thing. And so it was up to me in this email thread that was like, I'm never buying Goya again. Well, first of all, I live in Austin. I can't get any kind of Cuban stuff unless I buy Goya stuff. So, sorry. I don't care if they support Satan, man. I'm buying that stuff.
Like I need my beans.
Yeah, I need my stuff, man. But the thing is the reason why he had said that to Donald Trump was because Donald Trump had given him some kind of medal of something and some kind of recognition because Goya had given 1 million cans of garbanzo beans to like homeless, starving people. And so I'm like, that's why you're boycotting them? Because they give away food to people that need it?
Right.
Like, come on, man. Keebler doesn't do that.
Right.
Jesus. Drives me nuts. Anyway, I feel like all that misinformation stuff, a lot of times people, everybody gets involved in it some way because there's such a hair trigger to get mad about something.
Right.
But
I mean, and oftentimes it's legit, but I don't know, do the research a little bit before you do something like that. But I think he also had he's always hated Spotify because the sound on Spotify is not very good, which I agree with. The other streaming apps, Spotify is, unless they've upped their game on that, it was always pretty like low res sounding. So it almost seemed like maybe he was looking for a reason to get out. Dude, I've played with like half-size Marshall that he's played with in my life for about half as long. Yeah. There's no way that guy can hear like that well after being in fucking Crazy Horse for decades. Like, there's no way. He uses wedges too, right? I don't think he uses in-ear.
Yeah. There is no way that cat. I know. He had that Pono thing. All right, let's get off of that. So you're living in Toronto. You're a teenager. Then you finish high school and what? You went to college? Or no?
No, I didn't. No, I just moved. I just moved right out of high school to New York. I didn't go to. I did later go to college for a couple of years before I bailed on that again. But no, I'm in Toronto. Okay, so I'm in Toronto. I'm playing guitar, and I have a real band, and we're playing clubs, and I'm sort of feeling it, but I really couldn't find anyone who took it as seriously. I was sort of have trouble getting people to stay in the band, and like they wouldn't want to rehearse, and after like a few gigs, the novelty sort of would wear off to them, and that was it, and it was just frustrating, and I didn't see Toronto back then. The Canadian music industry, especially then, it was very insulated. I mean, it's a big country with not very many people. And I didn't like most of the bands that were the Canadian bands. There were some I liked, but, to me, growing up in Canada has, the classic sort of inferiority complex, resentment of the United States, but yet fascination and kind of obsession with it too. And I definitely had that. And it just seemed, well, all the music I love, everybody I know is either in America or from England. And I don't know anybody in England. And I have a cousin that lives in New York. And I love New York City. And I always had a fascination with like 70s New York and all the movies and shows from 70s New York. And all my heroes had gone to New York to sort of start their careers, Bob Dylan and Neil Young and Bruce, was from near there. So I just packed up and moved.
Yeah.
Down there. Yeah.
You had, jumping forward really fast, there was one song on your record that I got the Springsteen-esque vibe from, which was One Last Dance.
Okay.
Has a real kind of like it has the sprawling Bruce Springsteen song vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Where you can feel the expanse. He's so great at that.
Man, he really is. Yeah, I know. This, just kind of this like rolling train engine thing going through his songs, and the major key melodies mostly, and I don't know. It's hard to put into words. I've listened to spent a lot of hours listening to a lot of his records. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's hard not to. I go through phases in and out of like intense phases. I mean, I'm in this cover band called Skyrocket, and we did Born to Run. Man, that's an undertaking, dude. Like to work up that song in rehearsal.
Open. Yeah.
Yeah, man. We're a 7-person band. We should be able to handle it, but it's still like it is an opus. It is insane.
Yeah, well, I mean, they spent about 6 months building that song, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a great song. It never I'm never sick of it whenever it comes on. I'm there with it the whole time.
No. Have you gotten into his have you heard his the covers album that he did?
I haven't heard it yet.
I haven't heard it either. I heard an interview with him with who? Somebody. Oh, with Questlove the other day on a drive.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing when he was on Questlove's on Jimmy Fallon, right? Yeah, and Bruce was on, and he came on. He went on like 10, 11 years ago and did with the Roots backing him up, and they only did a couple of songs, but it was crazy good.
Yeah,
it was very cool. Yeah.
Do you so let me ask you this: do you still get excited with a new Bruce Springsteen album as a fan?
So,
Like
currently,
The Rising or whatever kind of stuff?
yeah, I'm all about them. Oddly, okay, so I was about 17, 18 when I got into Bruce, and it's kind of been a very a deep and somewhat, I wouldn't say secret, but I mean I've been obsessed with the guy for years, like, and all his records, they come out and I go all in, and I don't always like the new records, but I definitely, go all in and see what's there for me, and but over the last year or two, I don't know, I was thinking, I started going down this huge Thin Lizzy rabbit hole a couple of years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I always liked him, but I just never dove in, and I started diving in, and everything kind of shifted from, like, it was like everything to me was surrounding this ball of, like, Bruce and Neil Young and Bob Dylan and everything this, and the whole center of gravity sort of moved a bit, and I haven't felt myself putting on Bruce much in the last year or two.
Well,
Which, it goes so deep that it's I'm not worried about it as a fan. I'm sure it'll come back. But so this one came out and I read, like, oh, it's covers, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I don't know if how interested I am in it. I'm sure I'll get to it at some point.
I'm a huge fan of Phil Lynott as a songwriter, as a lyricist. Like, I think he is like the best. I'm there. Like, whatever story he's telling, I'm in it. It's funny. I was talking to the same band that we the same cover band we did, Boys Are Back in Town, and I was like, this is it's just so good. Like, it's very natural, it's very conversational, but it's also very specific, and it really puts you in a fucking place.
It so does. Yes. Because he's got, like, the Irish literary sort of fascination, so he structures these things well, and then they're so transparent's not the word, but they're coming out of his life, in a lot of ways. Like, he's very open the way he writes about stuff and his demons, and you can just see all the sides of him in his lyrics. It's beautiful.
And the language is by no means condescending. It's really for everyone to be able to understand, to be put in that place where he's telling you the story.
Right, yeah. There'll be lines that are just sort of like, hey, man, I mean, it's it's just the way someone would talk to you out on the street,
Dude, David, I've only been able to have this conversation with people from over there. Because, like, people here are always like, really? Like, Boys Are Back in Town? That's good lyrics? And I'm like, fuck yeah, it's good. It's amazing lyrics.
There was another third verse for that song when the Jailbreak expanded edition. One of the expanded editions has an outtake of that song and another vocal take, and there was a different third verse, and that verse is so good too that, I mean, he just had extra verse, and it's a bummer they had to junk that verse. I mean, even his throwaway verses are phenomenal. Yeah.
It's funny because here in America, like, there's two songs,
Right. I know. And they're great songs, but
yeah. I had these Scottish managers that
so rich.
Yeah. I had these Scottish managers that said something. I can't remember. I guess it was around the time when Metallica covered one of their songs, and I was like, oh, I never heard this song. They're like, you never heard Whiskey in the Jar? Are you stupid? And I'm like, you never heard this song? Are you stupid? What's wrong with you? So then I just all of a sudden was inundated and was just, like, blown away by this dude.
Yeah. I love all the albums. I mean, I'll spend weeks on basically on one album and then move off it to another one. I mean, they're just so rich, the catalog. And I just yeah, I really love them. I mean, it's not really metal. It's not all hard rock, but it is those. But then it's folky also, and it's all storytelling, and the chords are just really rich, and they just kick ass.
Yeah, they do kick ass. Hey, let me ask you a question. On Sin and Redemption, you had Dan Baird from Georgia Satellites on there, and also Brad Pemberton on drums. But how'd you hook up with Dan Baird?
Oh, I've been friends with Dan for about 9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I moved here, I had a producer friend named Ben who doesn't live here anymore. But Ben and Dan worked together making records, and Ben produced some of Dan's records. And Dan was saying that he wanted to find someone new to co-write with, to write some songs with, and so Ben suggested me to him. So Dan and I got together and wrote a song, and it went really well, and we had fun. So he kept calling me. So we've written probably about 30 or 40 songs together.
Wow, how cool, man!
Yeah, and they've come out on his solo records, and so when I was making that, the guy that produced that record used to play in Will Hoag's band when Dan was in it, so they were tight. So Dan came down and played, and yeah, I love that guy. He's sort of retired now from playing. He doesn't tour anymore, and he hasn't really even picked up a guitar in a year or two. But I think he will again. I don't know how you just put it away forever when you're someone like him.
I don't know. He sure is cool, man. I obviously. Why am I drawing a blank on the name of the song? But Battleship Chains was my jam off. Like when I bought that record, like I went and bought that record on the strength of Keep Your Hands to Yourself. And the coolest thing, and you probably will relate to this, when you're young, that record came out. I was like junior or senior in high school or something. I had a band. But you could play those fucking songs. You're like, holy shit, man! I can play these songs. It's not like some intricate like Duran Duran thing with some arpeggiated keyboard, or no one can afford a Juno 106. But we all have guitars and bass and drums. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know those records. Those 3 Satellite records are really good.
Really good. Very inspiring. Very. Just very rock and roll, like in this, and so odd that they came out in the it's sort of like the weirdness of like this the success of the Fabulous Thunderbirds framed in the time frame where they became very popular. It's like why did this Austin blues band become super famous amid Mr. and all that other shit on the radio? Like, how did that happen?
Maybe because of that. Do you think? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Cut through.
Because I remember I remember I was in 8th grade, I think, when Keep Your Hands to Yourself came out, and so you had like, Living on a Prayer, Howard Jones.
Yeah, a lot of overblown electronic stuff.
And then that would come on, and I think Copperhead Road was maybe like the year before that.
Oh,
maybe,
yeah.
Those were 2 songs I remember that were like these cool, raw, rock and roll songs in the midst of the big 80s stuff. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting to have that stuff.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. For the rest of the year, are you doing shows? Are you what's going on with you? You just did this European thing. I see you're going back next year, and you've got some stuff going on next year. But what are you doing for the rest of this year?
For the rest of this year, not too much. Well, I'm going up to Canada over Christmas time, and I'm going to be playing up in Toronto. And I got a couple of things here in town between now and the end of the year, but not much. We're going away for Thanksgiving, and I'm really just working on filling out next year.
Yeah.
At this point, getting back overseas, that's kind of been the thing that it feels so good to have just finally broken through that door, because it's just been forever that I've been trying to do that. You've probably been over there a lot, I would assume, over the years.
Man, I did a thing there once, and I went there, and I contacted a dude that had a place, and then he contacted another dude. So I had like a few gigs when I went there, but I was by myself, but I wasn't, it's kind of like my thing was never like American enough. Because like they're like, why would we need some guy that sounds like he wants to be from over here?
Oh,
You know what I
see
mean?
what
Like, what we need this guy for? We need like some Austin. That was the thing is like they had, and you go there and you play and you're like playing in Paris and they're like, this guy's from Austin. And they're like, okay, hey man, play some Stevie Ray. And you're like, oh no, man. Why do you sound like Oasis? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. No, but I imagine that your records make some kind of traction over there.
Well, that's the thing is that they have, gotten good response for a good 10 years or so since I started sending them over. The first one was, I put out a record in 2011 or 12 called Tennessee. And that one did really well over there and it got lots of airplay. And that's when I started thinking, oh, this could be a market. I could maybe go over there and start building an audience better. And then everything I put out since then is gotten good traction, and the tour went great. It was 3 weeks playing. I had only maybe 2 or 3 nights off the whole time, and good crowds at all the places, and it was
good,
really
man. Good. Yeah. That's good. Always good to open up, and plus it's fun.
So much fun.
Get to go to Europe.
So much fun.
Yeah.
And I had taken there, my wife had never I've been to Europe before, just never like toured or anything. And she'd never been. So our son Henry got really into Bach a couple of years ago. And he started playing organ and piano. And wow. And I started thinking,
that's weird.
Yeah. There's a Bach. You see the
Yeah.
The organ's covered in the closet. I got this Bach thing there, and it just connected with him. So we never had a honeymoon. We got married. We got married in New Orleans 10 years ago, and we had a huge weekend there with all family and friends, and that was sort of the honeymoon. So we'd always wanted to go to Europe, and so when it was our anniversary, we said, well, let's go to Italy because we always wanted to go there. And then I said, we should take Henry. We should go to Germany too and show Henry where Bach grew up and where he's buried and all this. So we did a full 10-day kind of a vacation, I guess, in the summer, which made me feel good because I knew I wanted to start going over there to play quite a bit. But it's hard being away from them for 3 weeks. That was sort of the only hard part. But it's nice that they got to go over there. And I'll try to keep it going that way for a bit because basically what I'm saying is it relieves some of the I guess guilt.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's what I'm saying. But and then with FaceTime too now, I could FaceTime with him every day and say goodnight and all that stuff. So it was a lot of fun. Just me in a car. I tell you what, one thing though, which I didn't realize, that over there they don't have cops. Everything went great, and I dropped off the rental car on the last day, and I went home. I thought, this is really successful. Every show was good, and I didn't totally lose my ass. I basically broke even on the thing, and I sold a lot of merch.
Great.
And and then I got home, and then the speeding tickets started showing up one by one in my inbox. They don't have cops there that stop you. They just track you by radar and send you speeding tickets in the mail after that. So I've accumulated it's just like a penalty or a tax for going over their tour. You're not going to get away with it this easy.
There's a guy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I'm at 4 and counting. And it's just so should you find yourself over there again, beware that.
And you got to pay them because you're going back next year, man. They'll be looking for you.
Exactly. But it sucks because you don't know you got them. So you know how it is. If you get a speeding ticket, you're careful for a little while after that.
Yeah.
But I was just driving free. Nobody cares. No one's. I didn't feel like I was the only one driving fast, but ugh.
Driving on the Autobahn at all?
There's not too much autobahns anymore. Not too many the German highways. They mostly there's sections without limits, but most of them seem to have speed limit signs now.
Oh. Hey,
not the world it once was.
I got to tell you, man. I made a list of my favorite songs. Home Depot Glasses, Blood on My Hands, Power Up, Sunrise Surprise, Ready for the Times to Get Better, which isn't your song, right? That's
right.
Crystal
That's an old song. Yeah.
One Last Dance, great song. Who played the violin on that Ready for the Times to Get Better?
This girl Kristen Weber, she's
good.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
Plays with a lot of, she gets a lot of work.
Yeah.
She's a very good person.
Well, dude, this has been really fun. I actually had gigs like crazy last week, and Friday was my last one. Then Saturday and Sunday it just rained and was super cold here, and I, just cleaning up the house, listening to your digging into your catalog has been really really fun over the last few days.
Man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Thanks. That's cool. Yeah, I remember when we met, I didn't know anybody there, and we were doing those gigs, and I was just so impressed with your tunes and your sort of composure. I didn't even know it then, but that was basically when you were coming off the whole sort of Gowdy and Metallica, the whole Lars thing. So
that thing where you leave the major label and national touring, and you're just in the coffee shop on the East Side on Tuesdays with Todd, trying to figure out your next move, man.
I remember you gave me the follow-up CD you guys had just put out.
Yeah, and
I listened to it a lot back then, and I was trying to find it. I was looking for it on. I don't have Spotify. I use the Amazon one, but I've got the CD somewhere, but not. I found it. You put out a. Yeah, it's not there.
It's not. I need to get that up there.
But I was listening to an album you put out in 2005. I think I was listening to that one yesterday.
Oh, thanks, man. I did that by myself in my house. That's like a garage record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
Well, dude, this has been great talking to you. People can find you at davidnewbould.com. The record Power Up is out now on Blackbird Records. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Blackbird record label. She always used to correct me, and I always wonder why. And then I realized there is another Blackbird Records.
Oh, okay. Blackbird record label.
Label,
okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Make a note of that.
Yeah, it's been great, man. I don't even know I feel like the last time I remember seeing you was at Momo's one night, and you were sitting with what's her name? The drummer she was married to Mark Addison, and then Jeff.
Oh, Nina.
Yeah. You're sitting with Nina, and I hadn't seen you in a while. And I thought, oh, there's Johnny Gowdy. And I walked up to you and I said, hey, Johnny, it's good to see you. I just ran into Tracy a while ago. And you said, I'm not married to her anymore. I said, okay. And then I saw Nina. I said, hey, Nina, I just saw Mark a couple of weeks ago. It's good to see you. She goes, I'm not married to Mark anymore. I thought, all right, I'm just going to walk off now. I think that was the last time I remember seeing you. I'll just carry on with whatever else I was doing.
Oh man, sorry. Yeah, it was an awkward year there for a little while.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy for you, man. Congratulations on family and moving out there and all this fucking amazing music.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And congratulations on the podcast. I couldn't believe
Thanks, man.
I was looking at the episode. You've done like 1,200 episodes?
Yeah,
or
so
like
many,
this?
dude. It's insane.
That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's been really fun, man. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. But it's been great. Like, I really do get to, I listen to new music all the time, which is one thing that's real hard to, make yourself do as you get older. You know?
Isn't it? Because you put on a few songs or something, be like, yeah, this is good, but, I like The Who. So then you just,
exactly. Yeah.
You really got to work to go in there. But that's partly a product of, because it's all there. If different when you go out and buy the album or the CD or whatever, and then you sort of you'd invested in it, so you were gonna automatically put the time in to invest. It's sort of one of the trade-offs now.
Yeah.
Not even the fact that it's free, but just the fact that it's all right there. You can just be like, I would put more effort into this, but there's something else I can just push and listen to that instead, and maybe I'll come back to this, and then you never do.
Right. Yeah, it's hard.
So I don't know good stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for the enjoyable weekend of music and the great conversation. I'll let you know when this comes out. It'll be out in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Great
Sounds
talking
great,
to you,
John.
David. Take care, buddy.
Take care.
All right, that was David Newbould. Great conversation. Check out his album Power Up, available now wherever it is you stream and download music. DavidNewbould.com is where you'll find him. And gang, don't forget when you go to DavidNewbould.com that you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Overcast, anywhere you find podcasts. New shows every Tuesday and every Friday. And gang, quick little surprise. Tomorrow night, I'll be dropping another From the Vault episode, classic conversation with the Trishas, featuring Kelly McWee, Jamie Lynn Wilson, and the incomparable Savannah Welch. Great conversation. Insane. From back in like 2014 or something like that. Great. Fantastic. Anyway, I want to thank David for doing the show. Power Up is the album. Get out there and check it out. Of course, he's got a bunch of other albums. Go to DavidNewbould.com for all your David Newbould needs. Have a great weekend, whatever it is you're doing. Let's get down.
Exposing secrets that were hid. I'm thinking of all the guys who woke up knowing right from wrong. Well, I'm thinking about this guy I'm taking in. Whoever knew it could be so hard to be strong. I'm thinking about the hands that reach out to those in need. I'm thinking about the love forever and peace. Well, I'm thinking about my baby in bed, man. I'm glad you were here so late. I got a feeling